Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for May 1st, 2025. It's a time machine episode because Mayor Watt just can't catch up. It is season 4, episode 121. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com, and today we're going to talk about these 10 articles: trained sea lion returns, a kangaroo in Alabama, the Met Gala tickets, spite hits, concussion blood testing, beachfront hotel ship, Oregononymous, the perfect Cacio Pepe virtual game cards reminder, and deals from Amazon's gaming sale. By proxy, somebody else's list, but I like to talk about gaming. I'm going to be doing Summer of Stream, just a couple of weeks, about a month actually. But hope to see you here every day. At least news, some gaming, chit chat, hanging out, that kind of thing. Stick around. All right, everybody. I am Mayor Watt. The sentient AI is not available today. Maybe once we get out of the time machine, they may be available. But we shall see. Let's get into it, though. Today's first article is over in Mobile. Rhythmically trained sea lion Ronin returns for an encore and performs as well as humans. Animal research on biomusicality, which looks at whether different species are capable of behaving in ways that show they recognize aspects of music, including rhythm and beat, remains a tantalizing field at the intersection of biology and psychology. Fascinating. Well, at the University of California, Santa Cruz, this article was written and it is posted over at phys.org. Now, a highly trained California sea lion at UC Santa Cruz has achieved global fame for her ability to bob her head to a beat is finally back, starring a new study that shows her rhythm is just as precise, if not better, than humans. In a new study published in Scientific Reports, Ronin's research team showed that her synchronization was as good or better than humans, and that her consistency in performing the beat-keeping task was better than that of humans. So, only humans can appreciate music, apparently. At 120 beats per minute, Ronin's most practiced tempo, she on average hits within 15 milliseconds of the beat, according to the new study's lead author, Peter Cook, a longtime researcher with UC Santa Cruz's Institute on Marine Sciences. Ronin's variability in timing beat to beat is also around 15 milliseconds, and by contrast, the blink of a human eye takes around 150 milliseconds. According to the article and Cook, she is incredibly precise with variability of only about a tenth of an eye blink from cycle to cycle. Also a comparative neuroscientist. Cook is at the New College of Florida. Sometimes she might hit the beat 5 milliseconds early. Sometimes she might hit the beat 10 seconds late. But she's basically hitting the rhythmic bullseye over and over and over again. So there you go. There's even a video. It says Battle of the Beats, sensorometer, synchronization. So go over and watch this. There's more article over at phys.org, but it's a time machine episode. I got to get out of here. Otherwise, I'm stuck in time and I got to get back in time. So the next article is over in the mobile channel. Runaway kangaroo shut down an Alabama highway. That's right, folks. It's not Florida kangaroo. It's Alabama kangaroo. As they used to, like the rocks out on the high desert. We used to ride those rocks to and fro back in the days of yore. But we also had kangaroos, free-range kangaroos, as far as the eye could see in Alabama. A runaway kangaroo caused chaos in Alabama when cops were forced to shut down a local highway because the marsupial caused a two-vehicle crash. They should never have given it a driver's license. Have you seen the way that people drive today? You got to pay a little bit more attention. Cops responded to the two-vehicle crash involving a kangaroo on April 29th in the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, or ALEA, explained in a Facebook post. People still use Facebook. The runaway marsupial caused cars to collide in the southbound lanes. This is like obvious. So the article by Paige Gawley over at Vice.com put the article together. What do Alabama kangaroo laws look like? Man, I want to make a joke. But anyway, eventually, both the southbound and northbound lanes of the highway were closed so that troopers with Alea's Highway Patrol Division, a very small knit community of kangaroo officers, along with the animal's owner, could recover the kangaroo. There was like a SWAT team, but it's like a routine. They fast rope it out of helicopters and descend on this thing, and they basically reacquired it. Let's just say they reacquired the target. The animal was recovered and the roadway was reopened, and the kangaroo was not injured in the crash, but everybody else was screwed. When someone said that there was a kangaroo, of course, they didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. Says Brunson, Sheriff Andre Brunson, explained that the animal was shot with a tranquilizer amid the chase. What's happening? Then it falls over. And in a plea to comfort itself, it climbed into its own pouch. Anyway, Patrick Starr, the animal's owner, Patrick Starr, the starfish? Oh, who lives in a pineapple under the sea. Not Patrick Starr, but anyway, he told the Associated Press that his pet, whose name is Sheila, you got to say it, that's too on the nose for a kangaroo. Sheila was treated by the Auburn University College of Veterinary Medicine after the incident, and after that, back home safe. You know, as one does, just hanging out in a home. I don't know what their yard is like. Let's move on. Spent way too much time on that, and I'm probably going to spend too much time on this. It's all interesting news. It's all fun. It's kind of interesting. The next article is over in the Non Sequitur News. That's where it got funneled to. Met Gala tickets, which are invite only, cost $75,000. Hey, you're invited, but pay me $75,000. Here's what the attendees get. So let's go straight on over to Business Insider. They get apparently a chair that's really painful to sit on for more than 5 minutes. McKenna Manise, I think, and Hermanis, and Christine Villarreal, put this article together. That person's glasses are blacked out. Look at that. Completely. There is no way. You would have to shine a laser to cut through those things just to see eyes on the other side of that. What's going on behind those? Anyway, Pharrell Williams and Lewis Hamilton are two of this year's Met Gala co-chairs. Which one is Pharrell and which one is Lewis? Because there's three people here, and I'm really curious why they didn't name the third person. Come on, man. There's three people. Am I missing something? Anyway, the 2025 individual tickets cost $75,000 there, while entire tables cost $350,000. Guests are treated to cocktail hour, dinner, and exclusive performances, and everyone knows how exclusive the Met Gala is. However, celebrities are not the ones paying the price. Tables are generally purchased by design houses, brands, or companies who then choose the guests that they'd like to invite to the tables, which requires approval from Wintour. Oh, that must be Wintour. Anna Wintour. But attendance requires more than an invitation. There's also a hefty entry fee. So what are you going to get? The tickets grant you the most important thing of all. Access. That's right. Pay to play. All you poors out there. We're not going to be there. You really try to think very carefully about who's sitting next to each other. Kiernan says, our ideal pairing would be maybe two people who we think will get along like a house on fire, but who may not even realize that they have a lot in common. So with each person, we really do like to take the time to think, what will they talk about? Access secured. Attendees walk the red carpets in outfits meticulously planned according to the dress code and theme. All right, once inside, they mingle during cocktail hour. All right. And of course, it wouldn't be a cocktail hour without drinks. This is the new thing. Stuff floating inside your drink. That's the new thing. We talked about this several weeks ago. Thought it was kind of funny. I think the segment is titled, "What the hell's on my ice?" or something like that. Not in it, on it. It's on. It like sits on top like a little table inside your drink, but it's on top of the drink. Anyway, guests also have the opportunity to view the Met's exhibit during a cocktail hour. And then after the cocktail hour, guests take their seats for a formal dinner. Look how bright white that is. It just me, or is that like extremely white carpeting? Anyway, drawing on inspiration from the lush gardens and palaces of Sleeping Beauty's fantasy world, we really aim to build our own bite-sized fairy tale. That's right, do away with reality. So the menu included Cacio Pepe pasta. We're going to be talking about that towards the end of the show. What the heck? I didn't plan that. That's pretty neat. Baby lamb chops. Oh, that's just wrong. Lobster and branzino. So surprise performances are also a key feature of the night. Justin Bieber performed at the 2021 Met Gala. You could tell that was Justin Bieber. Either that or what's her name from SNL. Ariana Grande was the latest Met Gala performer, with Cynthia Erivo performing at the 2024. Why did they say Ariana Grande was the latest Met Gala performer and not say both Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo? Oh, God, this is so weird. This one was an oddball thing. I think Doja Cat, just meowed at people and stuff like that when they interviewed her. It was so weird, just so freaky. Anyway, yeah, meow, whatever. For those who can't get enough of the fun, there's an annual after party. But I guess that's it. You get to hang out. And I guess so. I don't know. It would seem too, I don't know, that for me. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Here are 6 songs that were shunned by country radio and rejected by Nashville, but still became hits. I want to just jump on straight over to Callie Algram, who put this article together over at businessinsider.com. And let's go through this list. Let's see if they have it all here. Okay, so some radio stations initially refused to play Texas Hold'em by Beyonce, but then it became a breakout hit. Lil Nas X, Old Town Road was booted from Billboard's country charts, but that cashed in. He's even holding the money. Beyonce's Daddy Lessons was rejected by CMA Award winner CMA Awards viewers and the Grammy Country Committee. Casey Musgraves said her pro-LGBTQ song Follow Your Arrow was banned by country radio. Goodbye Earl by the Chicks, which changed their names from the Dixie Chicks, sparked debate and pushback from country radio programmers. Loretta Lynn's controversial single The Pill became a crossover hit without radio play. It says throughout the 70s, Loretta Lynn made a name for her feather ruffling with her frank songwriting, which often tackled sexist stigmas and women's issues. Oh, come on, right? Women's issues? No, women don't have any issues, right? That's not how it works. Right? Right? I mean, maybe I'm being told the wrong thing. Anyway, let's keep on moving. Let's just go. The next article is over in 4-Wheel Tech. Concussion blood testing is coming to motorcycle racing. A first for any sport. Moto America and healthcare giant Abbott will start using blood tests to help assess riders for suspected concussions during race weekends. Ryan Eric King put the article together. It's over at jalopnik.com. I was trying to come up with something funny to say about this, but it's actually kind of serious. And I could, but it would be a joke that, I don't know, people might get upset about. Moto America will be using Abbott's iStat TBI test cartridge. The cartridge with a few drops of blood drawn is inserted into the handheld iStat Alinity instrument on site. The test measures two brain-specific biomarkers, UCHL1 and GFAP, in the blood sample, and if either or neither biomarker exceeds its established cutoff, then it's likely that the rider hasn't suffered a significant injury and doesn't need a CT scan. The iStat TBI was cleared for use with whole blood by the FDA in 2024. So it says there's a need of objective concussion testing in sports, because it's basically an evaluation. And if the person evaluating just misses one indicator, thinks that the person answered the questions in the interrogation well enough, you can put them back on the field and they have a traumatic brain injury. So this kind of deception isn't inclusive to all sports, or to ball sports. It is inclusive of all sports. Earlier this year, Dakar Rally co-driver Sam Sunderland and his Overdrive racing team hid that he suffered a concussion during a stage from race officials to remain in the event. The team only withdrew after he took another blow to the head days later and temporarily lost his vision. Let's keep moving. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News as well. A converted 110-year-old ship into a beachfront hotel on Indonesia's shores. And here's how this person did it. Adita Barad over at businessinsider.com put this article together, and it's an essay that is part of a discussion between Eric Shaw, the 73-year-old founder of Deleuze Foes The Ship Hotel in Bintan, Indonesia. It has been edited for length and clarity, so when I'm cutting through this, I'm jumping around this whole thing, just trying to tease people into going over and reading this article. Oh, and if you want today's articles, you can just hit !NSN, Non Sequitur News, and Omatron will spit the articles out in the order that we're going through them. We're about halfway done. So it says they used to bring their children. Sorry, just got an alert. It had spent 33 years as a floating library sailing around the world. This 430-foot long ship belonging to a Christian missionary, the MV Deleuze. In 2010, they bought the MV Deleuze, which had earned the Guinness World Record for being the world's oldest active ocean-going passenger ship. So then they said it's not their first rodeo with ships. Their first was 25 years ago when they bought a riverboat, which at the time belonged to A&W Restaurants, and they bought it and converted it into a floating Tex-Mex restaurant on the shores of Sentosa, an island off Singapore known for its luxury hotels, amusement parks, and beaches. So they wanted to sign on to something bigger. They founded a resting place in Bintan, Indonesia. They were going to dock it off the coast in Singapore. They placed it in a shipyard, hoping that within 3 months they would get approval. They bargained with the government. 3 months turned into 3.5 years, submitted 6 to 7 proposals to various authorities without success. And in the meantime, they bled money docking and maintaining the ship in a shipyard. Eventually, they found a hotel developer that was local to Bintan, Indonesia, met him for dinner, and away it goes. So they retrofitted the ship and turned it into a hotel, which, I mean, it's not a far cry from just being a hotel anyway. The cabins were widened. They were eager to put larger windows in to let views of the Bintan shores, and the interiors were designed with a nod to maritime history. All right. Well, that's it. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Rounders Gear. Oregon lottery winners gain right to remain anonymous. So I guess it's Oregononymous. Yeah, they say the measure breaks with Oregon's long-standing policy of public disclosure, which is shared by many states. This was previously seen as essential for maintaining public trust in state-running the gambling, but it's also good for business. The publicity generated by a jackpot winner usually results in a spike in lottery sales for the subsequent draw. Oregon is one of 23 states that publicly discloses the names of all lottery winners. It says discounters targeted. The U-turn is specifically designed to target the fraudulent practice of discounting, where individuals buy winning tickets, sometimes worth millions, for as little as 50 cents on the dollar. Sellers benefit by dodging garnishments on debts such as unpaid child support, while buyers can redeem the full prize and write off the purchase as a business expense. This niche market has thrived in Oregon and other states for many years. The bill prohibits the reselling of tickets and the deduction of the purchase price of lottery tickets from the buyer's taxable income. The measure allowing anonymity for lottery winners was a late-stage amendment. Under the new law, winners' names will only be released with their written consent. So yeah, I would hate to announce that I won the lottery because you become a target. I just want to fade out of existence, I am the same person I was before, just because I happened to, stumble across some money. So in 2018, because I'd be doing stuff on the sly anyway, like I'd be donating stuff left and right because I just find value in changing people's, long-term safety and security for food and shelter and just life, get them an education and whatnot. So in 2018, the winner of what was the 8th biggest jackpot in history, $560 million Powerball prize, successfully sued the New Hampshire lottery for the right to keep their identity secret. The judge in the case determined that the New Hampshire woman, known only as Jane Doe, would be subject to an alarming amount of harassment, solicitation, and other unwanted communication should her name be revealed. And I agree. So her right to privacy outweighed the public's interest in the disclosure of her name. And I think that right there is kind of I think that is the biggest lie, in that it only gets applied to big winners. It's not going to apply to the everyday person. We as individuals apparently do not have the right to privacy. But if you have enough money thrown around, then you can gain that, because, that a rich person is worth more than everybody else who has come and gone prior. I think it's just, I think it's wrong to frame it like that. Everybody, if they don't want to post that they won $1.3 billion, they shouldn't have to. Plain and simple. The state got all of its money. All the rest of it is knock-on advertising. So just say, make believe, just advertise that somebody won $1.3 billion. Somebody did win it. And as long as the legal pretense behind it is sound, then it doesn't matter. Nobody needs to know that I won $1 billion. I mean, that part sucks, because again, you become the target of all kinds of shit because people don't know how to, there's all these maladaptive people out there that think that sometimes stuff that I say here draws their ire. It's pretty wild. Y'all need some coping skills. Anyway, the publicity generated by a big jackpot winner is a spike in lottery sales. And that's what this is. Why not just say, hey, we have somebody that won the lottery. They're this, that, and the other. And you can't win if you don't play. It's the best marketing that you've got. You can't win if you don't play. HB 3115 passed the Senate Tuesday, 23-5 vote. I don't know who these numbnut 5 are, but pretty wild. And they talk about these discounters again. Go over to casino.org and read this article by Philip Conneller, who puts it all down. Just thought it was really interesting, and I hope that you find it interesting too, and you go over to our source. Let's keep going. We've got 3 more articles, and then we're going to take a break. We might be able to spin back up and do the Non Sequitur news for Friday, May 2nd. But I think I'm going to have to take a little bit of a break. Researchers have the perfect Cacio e Pepe recipe down to a science, they say, literally. Cooking the famous creamy pasta sauce is as delicious as it is frustrating, because the cheese tends to clump when exposed to heat. That's why Italian scientists created a new technique that's simple yet precise. The article is by Margarita Bossi over at SmithsonianMag.com. And yeah, the famous creamy pasta sauce is as delicious as it is frustrating. I've watched people try and cook it on YouTube time and time again, and it always gets messed up. But it's basically just this pasta sauce with cheese and pepper. But it turns into a lumpy, broken cheese mess and not like a saucy goodness. Anyway, it says arguably one of the most delicious, but simple shouldn't be confused with easy. The recipe traditionally calls for mixing in a little bit of pasta water to make the sauce creamy, a deceivingly complex maneuver since the pecorino often forms clumps because of the water's heat. From now on, however, all you frustrated cooks out there can rest easy because a team of expat Italian researchers have gotten the recipe down to a science. The foolproof ingredient: extra starch. A true Italian grandmother or a skilled home chef from Rome would never need a scientific recipe for Cacio e Pepe. Relying instead on instinct and years of experience, the researchers write in a study detailing their work, not in the detail studying their work. Published in the journal Physics of Fluids. There is always a journal. It's like the internet rule, but there's one for academia, I guess. But if you can think of it, there's a journal for it. Everyone else, this guide offers a practical way to master the dish. And so they basically say starch enables cheese and water, two ingredients that would otherwise not mix, to blend together, keeping the sauce creamy, smooth, and free of clumps. And the water's high temperature, however, changes the cheese's proteins in a way that makes them stick to each other. In sufficient quantities, the starch also mitigates this effect by binding to the cheese proteins, reducing their direct interactions and consequently their aggregation. Thus, you don't get the little lumps. So for the naturally released starch in the pasta water to be sufficient, the researchers suggested letting a little water cool before mixing in the cheese, then slowly heating the saucepan up, or the sauce up again. But they offer a shortcut for those looking for a quicker recipe. At higher starch concentrations, temperature becomes less of a concern, as the sauce remains smooth even with less precise heat control. The recommended scientific approach uses a starch-to-cheese ratio of between 2% and 3% by weight, allowing some home cooks to reliably create a smooth sauce without worrying too much about temperature. And they actually get into the preparation of Cacio e Pepe meal for two with around 11 ounces of pasta and 7 ounces of cheese. I'm not going to go through all of that. You can go over to SmithsonianMag.com and check it out on your own. The next article is a reminder that you don't own anything anymore. You probably don't even own yourself. In fact, I challenge you, you don't own yourself. I'll just make that plain and clear. The Nintendo Switch just got a new update that adds virtual game cards as a way to share digital games with other people, but the update also closes a loophole that would let you play shared games online at the same time as someone else sharing the game with your account. So, as reported by Eurogamer, before the introduction of quote-unquote virtual game cards, it's not their quote, it's mine, virtual game cards, which is basically just a license. You don't own jack shit. The only way Nintendo allowed you to share or digital Switch games was by logging into your Nintendo account on a second Switch, downloading the game to that console, and using that system, which is now available under online licensing. You can exchange a game, loan it out to somebody. The old sharing system is still in place, but with a significant change. Jay Peters writes this article, and essentially, you can no longer play that same game with two people. They have to have their own game because you literally loaned them your license to consume. So before the introduction of the virtual game cards, the only way Nintendo allowed you to share it was to log into that second Switch and download the game on the console. And then using that system, it's now under available online license settings. It was possible for you and a friend to play the game that you owned online simultaneously, but now it checks in with the virtual game cards. However, the old system, two people can't play a shared game online at the same time anymore, which could be a disappointment if you relied on it ahead of this update. So if you do opt to use virtual game cards, Nintendo won't just force you to manage those on a Switch or Switch 2. The company will also let you manage them from a website, which could be handy if you don't have your Switch nearby, but want to share a game. This is the idea of buy once and you can play the game anywhere, except that it's still only in Nintendo. And so I titled this, well, NintendNope is the... Like today's episode is a kangaroo in Alabama. You can make of that what you want. Cacio Pepe. I like that pasta, by the way. It's really good. And NintendNope. And more. Non Sequitur news. Anyway, Jay Peters put this article together over at The Verge. Let's do our last article for today's Time Machine episode of the May 1st. And soon, May the 4th be with you. So here are our favorite deals from Amazon's annual gaming sale. It's not us being the sentient AI and Merawatt. It is from The Verge. Amazon Annual Gaming Week celebration kicked off on Monday, April 28th, and will run through Sunday, May 4th. Whether you're looking for a new headset, an internal SSD, or other gaming essentials, there's plenty of deals to explore. That being said, not every discount is worth your time and money. In fact, most aren't. They took the liberty of sifting through the deals. So let's see what they have to say. Sheena Vasani over at TheVerge.com put this article together. The deck statement says Amazon's latest gaming promo might be a little hit or miss, but there are a few gems in the mix. From premium headsets like Sony's InZone H9 and mice like the glorious Model D. I think, is it actually called the glorious Model D? To games like Resident Evil 4, Street Fighter 6, Visions of Mana 1. I just wanted to tie it all together. Here are the deals actually worth shelling out for. And they say Sony InZone Buds, 16% off. MetaQuest 3, Razer's Wired, Black Shark V2, the Western Digital Black SN7100 SSD at 4 terabytes is $270, which it's a lot of storage on an SSD. $300 is still a lot, let's be honest. The Hisense U7 series ULED TV is $1,050. I don't know what size it is. It says here 65 inches, apparently. I guess that's okay. I mean, it's really good for being $1,000. The Elgato Stream Deck Mark II is currently on sale on Amazon, Best Buy, B&H Photo for $130, which is $20 off, which is about $13 shy of the best price to date. The PDP Travel Case Plus Glow for the Nintendo Switch or Switch OLED. And this kind of sucks because guess what? Stuff is going to get more expensive as tariffs kind of pile on. We'll see. CRKD's Nitro Deck Plus. It's a cradle-style controller for the Nintendo Switch. Adds 4 programmable rear buttons, gyro motion controls, and rumble. It also offers Bluetooth support and lets you play games while docked to a TV. How are you docking to a TV? If that's the controller and the Switch is inside. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, you can pick up a physical copy of Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. HyperX Quadcast S is also available for $100. Resident Evil and many, many, many more. I'm not going to go through all of them. I would like the Atari 2600. Just kidding. I'm not nostalgic, but I used to play Atari 2600 when I was just knee-high to a grasshopper. So what I'm going to do now is take the cartridge out, blow on it, and when I stick it back in, it's going to snap us back to the front page of ohmtown.com, where you should go and become a citizen. But until then, I am out of here. Well, not until you sign up. I'm going to leave. You can go and sign up at any time. So, adios, everybody. I am Mayor Watt, and I'll see you later.